Welcome one and all to another prime time edition of Crypto Cove. It's great to see everyone here again. Everyone unmute and let's welcome everyone in.
Hi,
Hi,
welcome.
everyone.
Hello,
Good
good
everybody.
morning. Hello.
morning.
Hi, everybody.
Hello and welcome from New Zealand.
Good morning from Philippines.
Hello, everybody. Morning from Nigeria.
All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and hop right in. And before I begin with the actual topic of tonight, I just have a quick announcement for folks. And for anyone who's been using my utility to add the custom tokens that we use, the PF tokens and PML, it's just as a quick announcement that by popular request, I've added USDT to the suggested token adding here. So USDT no longer has to be added manually when someone's being onboarded or they're setting their wallet back up. So you can just get all the tokens from just this button. So that's very useful. We've streamlined that part of the equation is pretty much as we can at this point. So hopefully people find that useful. All right, thoughts
Hunter?
on that? Go ahead.
I don't know how to use this. Can you show me how to actually do it?
Right, so we actually went over this on the last Crypto Cove call. I can send you that, but basically you just click this button and what happens is MetaMask opens up and just all the tokens reach add. So it'll suggest PFB, PFI, PFS, PFG, PML, and now with the add I've made, it'll first suggest USDT to add, and you'll click on add token for all those suggestions that come up, and that'll add the token to MetaMask.
Okay, thank you.
It's a lot more streamlined than us having to add the tokens manually, which is what we've been having to do up until this point.
Yeah.
Hunter, could you
All right.
please post the link for that in the Zoom chat?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I was thinking your blog spot, but that's in your
Oh.
video description, is it?
Yeah, that's in the video description.
Okay, thank you.
And that video will show you how to use it exactly. We go into quite a bit of detail there.
Thank
All
you.
right, so with that, are there any other questions about that particular topic? No? All right, we'll move on then. So MetaMask requires no introduction for just about everyone here on the call. You know it, you love it, and chances are you are one of the many users here in pool hunting and in cryptocurrency in general that use MetaMask. But MetaMask does have some shortcomings, despite how great it is. Like, for example, it cannot store native Bitcoin, it cannot store native Litecoin. If it isn't something that's based off of the Ethereum chain or one of the chains that was ultimately based off of the ERC20 standard in the Ethereum virtual machine, MetaMask just cannot store that as of yet. They're starting to try and change that with supports for some chains, like, for example, the Solana chain. But for the most part, if it's not something that's based off of Ethereum or one of the chains that is compatible with Ethereum, MetaMask simply cannot store it. But what if you want to get into more tokens that just are involved in Web3 in one form or another? Like, for example, what if you want to get involved in Bitcoin? What if you want to store Bitcoin, considering what a good store of value it is, and the fact that, well, Bitcoin is a pretty safe bet in the crypto world, wouldn't you all say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily you have options, and there are several different options for Bitcoin wallets, as well as several different other types of wallets that store multiple types of currencies. Now, the one that I usually recommend, particularly to crypto newbies, is a wallet called Exodus. Now, what this is it's a multi-token portfolio wallet that will hold a great deal of tokens that MetaMask just cannot hold, and will hold most of the ones that MetaMask can hold. Now, let me get this out of the way first. This is not a replacement for MetaMask whatsoever. They do have a Web3 wallet, but the reviews on that really aren't that great, so I certainly can't recommend using it. But for the desktop or mobile wallet, then that definitely gives you the option to store more tokens. And generally, I do like to recommend people have more than one wallet anyway, especially once they start getting more and more tokens and more value. That way, you're not storing all your tokens in one place. The same idea based off of don't store all your eggs in one basket. So with that, we'll go ahead and take a look at their offerings here. All right, so they offer three different types of wallets: the desktop wallet, the mobile wallet, and as I mentioned, the Web3 wallet. Now, the desktop wallets and the mobile wallets are pretty similar to each other. They have pretty similar functionality. The mobile wallet is available for iOS or iPadOS, and it's also available for Android. But today our focus is going to be the desktop wallet because, well, we're on desktop or laptop technically, but same difference. All right, so there are multiple different types of desktop wallets offered by Exodus, and that depends on the platform that you want to use it on. Probably the most popular one being the Windows Vault. That's for 64-bit operating systems based off of Windows. And that's pretty much all forms of Windows for the past 10 years or so. So you really shouldn't have any issues with that if you're using Windows. There's also two types of wallets for the Mac platform, the Mac OS platform. We have one for chipsets based off of the Intel chipset, and we have one for machines that are using Apple Silicon. And for those of you Linux fans out there, we also have two different packages for Linux as well. If you're using Debian or a Debian-based distro, like for example, Linux Mint or Ubuntu or Kubuntu, or any one of the many different variations of Ubuntu for that matter, then you can use the Debian package here. And if you're using any other distribution, there's also a zip file distribution here for Exodus. And your package manager or app store may also have some version of Exodus as well. So be sure to check that out as well. All right, so in this case, since I'm using Windows, I'm going to go ahead and download the Windows version. And that'll give me an option to save the executable. We're just waiting for the download to finish. I'll check the chat in the meantime. All right, the download is done. So we'll go ahead and open up the installer. And usually it does run a bit faster than this. It's just I'm screen sharing, so of course that's taking up a fair bit of resources. All right, so there we go. This has been installed. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the desktop. And we can see the Exodus shortcut right here. So we'll go ahead and double click that to open it up. All right, and if you already have a wallet installed, or if you did have a Exodus wallet installed from a previous installation, what it's going to do is it's going to find that installation's package files for you, as well as in the wallet's indication for you, and it's going to go ahead and load up your wallet for you. If this is your first time loading up Exodus, what it's going to do is it's going to offer you to either create a wallet or restore a wallet. Like, for example, we can see the restore button right here, and that'll allow you to import your 12-word secret phrase. And
We're not seeing that, Hunter.
yes,
We're not seeing that. We're only seeing
No.
your home
Desktop.
screen.
oh,
Yeah, your desktop home
Alrighty.
screen.
all right, let me go ahead and stop the share and start it again. All right, are you all seeing the Exodus wallet now? Where it's showing secured wallet?
Nope.
No.
Okay, well, I guess Zoom is blanking that out, but anyway, what you'll see is an option to either import a wallet or create a new one. Or if you've had Exodus installed before, it'll try and find a backup for you if you still have it on your machine. That way you can get back into using Exodus quickly. In my case, what you can see is that there's several different options. Like, for example, if I click on restore, it'll allow me to import my secret recovery phrase. And you can also import the phrase that you have with MetaMask into Exodus if you want to have your wallets over here as well in Exodus. I generally don't recommend that. So I generally recommend you have them be two completely separate wallets, but to each their own.
Hunter, we can still only see your desktop.
That's unfortunate. All right, let me go ahead and log in here, and hopefully then that'll show it. All right, is it showing Exodus now?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All right, so this is one of the mainline wallets that I use for a lot of my cryptocurrency transactions that aren't Web3 based. And you can see there's several different features that the wallet offers. Right now, let's just go over to the wallet icon itself. It looks like a purple wallet there. So, and let's go over to Bitcoin. So we can see that Exodus does in fact hold Bitcoin. Exodus also holds Litecoin, Ethereum, Tron, XRP, Ripple, Solana, and you get the idea, many, many more. In fact, let's go over to settings and assets, and let's just scroll through the list. And I'm probably not going to slow down here. If you see something that interests you, you can pause the video and take a look. But yeah, in general, suffice to say, Exodus supports a wide variety of tokens. All right, let's go back over to the wallet. And we can see that, yes, this will also hold tokens that we usually use in Web3, like BNB on the Binance Smart Chain. Now, again, do not try and use this as a replacement for MetaMask because the desktop wallet here has no Web3 functionality whatsoever. So if you try and connect this with pool funding, pool micro lending, or any other Web3 service, it just will not work at all. So don't even try. This is something entirely separate and probably should be used for an entirely separate thing. So with that in mind, let's go over to the next function, and that's for swapping. All right, and this function allows you to create a swap for one of your tokens to another token, assuming that a swap pair is available for it. Typically, I am not going to recommend that people use the swap function within Exodus because that uses a third-party swap provider, and Exodus also takes a hefty cut of whatever you're swapping. So in most cases, it's just going to be better for you to use a swap tool or a decentralized exchange. Like, for example, PancakeSwap, Uniswap for decentralized exchanges on the same chain. Or if you're trying to go cross-chain, then you would probably want to use something like SimpleSwap or FitFloat. Buy and sell, pretty self-explanatory. Again, I would usually recommend people go to the exchange itself, either that MetaMask partners with if you're using MetaMask as your mainline wallet, or if you're looking for an exchange to do business with, you would want to go to that specific that particular exchange rather than using this function here in Exodus. So, like, for example, there's the big name exchanges like Gemini, Crypto.com, Kraken, etc. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about that function. Rewards. Now, this goes into staking. And staking is going to be beyond the scope of what we're talking about here. But in general, what you can expect from staking is it allows you to essentially put up tokens that you hold on certain networks, and essentially turns your wallet into a sort of certificate of deposit. And if you put enough in here, you can actually get a pretty good return. Like, for example, we can see with Solana, we see 6.77% APY. Hey, that's much better than most bank accounts out there, wouldn't you all say?
What's APY?
Annual interest per year.
Oh, per year.
Yeah.
Should be per month.
Yeah, and there's also going to be several different rates for several different types of tokens. Like, for example, we see that Cosmos offers 20.09 APY. Injective offers 19.39% APY. Polygon offers 4.76% APY. And the idea for this is to give you incentive to lock up your tokens so that you can't use them, at least for a certain period, which in turn helps secure the network and keep it stable. All right, Casey, you have your hand up.
Yes, it's not to do with this. I just wanted to quickly say to everyone that's trying to put their wallet addresses in, this isn't a paid training, and I will be
Oh.
deleting all the wallet addresses. So thank you.
Yeah, folks, again, I've said this a couple times now, but this is unofficial training. This is not paid training. If you're thinking about putting your wallet address in there, you're wasting your time. I have nothing to send you.
Laugh out loud. Good on you, Hunter. Good on you, mate.
All right, so let's go over to the next section. And this allows you to hold NFTs in a desktop vault, like, for example, Etslist, like we're seeing here. In most cases, most folks here aren't going to have anything to do with NFTs, but for anyone who does, Etslist does absolutely provide an option here. Although usually I would recommend using a Web3 wallet for that, like MetaMask, or anything that's on the Ethereum, Polygon, or BSC chain. And then, of course, we also have some different types of NFTs for the Solana chain. And if I recall correctly, there was an effort to make NFTs on the Bitcoin mainnet as well. That unfortunately did not go very well, but that's an entirely separate story. Right. So Exodus also offers you the ability to create several different portfolios. Like, for example, I have my mainline one here, just named Exodus, and I have a secondary one here that holds very little. I use this one for some other transactions that I don't want linked to my mainline wallets for whatever reason. And you can click up here to switch between them, or you can click see your portfolios to get a bird's eye view of what you have in each of your portfolios. And you can also, if you want, create a brand new portfolio. And this will allow you to customize it a little bit so you can differentiate between them all with a different color hue and different icon. Like, for example, we'll go ahead and click this yellow shade here, and we'll use the piggy bank for the icon. And it'll also allow you to give the portfolio a name. And then you can go ahead and create the new portfolio. And then it'll prompt you to unlock your wallet, which I'm going to do now. And it's been created. So we'll go ahead and continue to that brush portfolio. And there's nothing in here. This is a fresh instance, a fresh portfolio, and it's going to use a fresh set of addresses that aren't tied to either of these other portfolios or the addresses within them at all. All right, any questions about any of that before we move on?
No, I don't think anyone has any questions.
All right, so now to move on to adding tokens to here in Exodus if you decide you want to. It's a pretty simple process. Like, for example, I'm going to go through sending tokens from my MetaMask vault over into the Exodus vault. First, I'm going to send a bit of BNB. So for that, first we want to make sure that we're in the BNB column. And one thing you'll also note is that we see BSC network. Now, Exodus supports several different chains. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the right chain for the tokens you want to send. Like, for example, if we go back to TetherUSD, we can see that just for the chains that I have enabled with USDT, we have Ethereum, Tron, Solana, Polygon, and BNB Smart Chain. And Exodus also supports several other chains other than just what you see here. So it's very important to make sure that you're looking at the right chain for the token that you're wanting to send. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and click the receive button. And that'll show us the wallet address that this wallet uses. Like for example, with mine, we see it ends in FF7. And it also shows us a QR code that we can also use if we want to send tokens to this wallet from a mobile device. This is a QR code that can be scannable using your device's camera. But in this case, since we're using the desktop still, I'll go ahead and click copy on this wallet address. And it's been copied to the clipboard. All right, so now I'm going to go back over to my web browser. And I'm going to go ahead and open up MetaMask. And I'm going to send just a little bit of BNB in there so we can see how it works here as a test. And if we take that from the top, you just click on the send button here. And then you paste in that wallet address that we just copied. And you can also add that wallet address as a contact in your MetaMask, because it's not going to matter that it's not from MetaMask or any other Web3 wallets. It's going to show up exactly the same. All right, so I'm going to send, say, $1 worth of BNB over to Exodus, and I'll click continue and confirm. Transaction shows as complete. So I'll click view activity. All right, and I don't know if you guys heard that, but when Exodus receives tokens, it does make a little sound that sounds like coins clanking. So let's go back over to Exodus. And we can see that the $1 worth of BNB I sent is there already. See, that's the magic of fast chains like the Binance Smart Chain, of course. But what if you wanted something else? Like, for example, what if you wanted to swap some of your USDT over to a token that MetaMask doesn't support, and you want to store it over here in Exodus? So for that, you simply select the token that you're wanting to put in here first of all. Like, for example, what I want right now is Dogecoin. The token symbol for Dogecoin is DOGE. Take note that this has nothing to do with certain government agencies whatsoever. The two are nothing alike. But anyway, with that in mind, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click on the receive button. And it's just like before, we see the Dogecoin address, which we can copy when we're ready. So right now I'm going to go back over to my web browser, and I'm going to go over to BitSloat, where I already have an exchange quote queued up. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this to make sure nothing got stuck here. And for this example, I'm going to swap $10 worth of USDT on the Binance Smart Chain over to Dogecoin. And you see that the swap fee means that I'm giving up 9 cents worth. So we'll go back over to Exodus and copy that Dogecoin address. And then I'll hit the X here to close out that receive window. And then I'm going to go back over to BitSloat and paste that Dogecoin address into where it's the destination field, where it shows your Dogecoin address. All right, so that's been pasted. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Exchange Now. And that's going to go ahead and create the exchange for me. So now what I can do is I can copy this address it's giving me. It's been copied. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back up to MetaMask. And then I'm going to go down to TetherUSD and click send. And then I'm going to paste that wallet address that I copied. And they'll send the amount that Spitzlope wants me to send. In this case, it's 10 USDT. Then I'll click continue and confirm. All right, shows is complete. So we'll go back over to Bitsfloat, and we can see that the Dogecoin has already been sent. If you're sending some other token on a slower network, like for example, the Ethereum mainnet, or if you're trying to swap something else, like for example, Bitcoin over to Dogecoin, that's obviously going to take longer. I used a couple of the fastest things I could show here just for the sake of demonstration. So that way we're not all waiting a while for a Bitcoin transaction to post in a wallet. And now I'm curious, did any of y'all just hear that sound? That sounded like coins clanking?
Yep.
Yep,
I
I
heard
did.
it.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
that's
Yep,
the
I did.
sound that Exodus makes whenever there's a deposit into one of your wallets. And if you get used to using Exodus after a while, you'll start to get used to that sound, and chances are you'll grow to love it, just as I have. All right, we can see that the Dogecoin is in the wallet. We're still waiting for confirmation. But Dogecoin blocks typically take about a minute or two to mine. And we can see, right as I said that, it's confirmed the next block. So the Dogecoin is actually in this wallet here. All right, so that took a matter of 5-10 minutes or so, if that's from start to finish. What you guys say? And if we're just talking about the swap over from the USDT to Doge, that took all a matter of a minute or two. But the whole process that we've gone over here didn't take that long at all. Agreed?
Yep.
Agree.
Agreed.
It didn't take
All right.
Yep,
And-
agree.
And with that in mind, are there any questions about anything related to Exodus or anything else of that nature?
So can we purchase coin in Exodus?
You can. Exodus has a buy and sell feature, but most of the time I'm not going to recommend using the buy and sell feature from within Exodus. Like for example, right now it's not available here in Panama. In some locations like the US and Canada, it is available. But most of the time I'm going to recommend people go directly to the exchange that they want to do business with. Or in the case of them wanting to purchase coins that are compatible with the Web3 ecosystem, then they can use whatever exchanges are available in their area that MetaMask partners with. And we've gone through that a couple times before, and I imagine there's quite a few people on this call that went over that when they first got into pool funding. So that would definitely be the path of least resistance for you. And most of the time, the exchanges that MetaMask partners with will also sell some of our tokens that aren't Web3 compatible. Like, for example, the vast majority of them are going to sell Bitcoin as well. A lot of them are also going to sell Litecoin, Dogecoin, or many other different types of tokens. I'll go ahead and stop the share since I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to share. All right, we have Rosa, you have your hand up. Apologies if I put your name there. You can go ahead and unmute.
Sorry, Hunter. Yeah, it's Rod. The question I've got to ask, only got about 50 or $60 of USDT in Exodus. I've had it there for years, and I wanted to withdraw some, and it kept on saying that basically I didn't have enough USDT in there to withdraw, or if I tried another way, it said I didn't have enough Ethereum in there. But it won't let me change any of my USDT to Ethereum to be able to do the swap. So basically, the only way you can withdraw if you haven't got a lot of if you haven't got Ethereum or BNB in there, if you've only got a little bit of USDT, it doesn't seem to let me want to withdraw it.
So with that's definitely one of the handicaps with the buy and sell feature is that they have pretty high minimums. Now, another thing is it also sounds like you don't have much Ethereum in that wallet. So one thing you might want to do is if you have any spare USDT in the Binance Smart Chain that you can part with, is you might want to swap that over to Ethereum and send it over to Exodus. And that should hopefully give you enough gas in order to send that USDT to another exchange that has lower minimums, like, for example, say Transask, for instance.
Okay, yeah, because it all starts to get quite expensive when you're only trying to withdraw a small amount of money.
Yep, the Ethereum chain is unfortunately still quite a bit more expensive than some other chains. They've made great strides over the past couple of years, but it's still not that great. I think I checked the other day, and the average fees on Ethereum were something on to the order of 70 cents or so. Although of course when you're using a token like USDT, those fees necessarily go up because you're sending more data over the blockchain.
Right. Okay. Thanking you.
So yeah, what I would definitely recommend is, if you can, swap some USDT that you have on Binance Smart Chain or any other token for that matter to Ethereum. And then from there, you should hopefully have enough of the gas fee of Ethereum to send that USDT over to you in exchange proper.
Okay. Good. Thanks.
No problem. All right, and Nola, you were next up.
Oh, hi, Hunter. Thank you very much for all of this. This sounds to me like a dumb question, but the purpose of having an Exodus wallet, it's still a warm wallet, isn't it? It's not a cold wallet.
That it's not a cold wallet, although it may be possible to create a cold wallet with Exodus. I've seen it done before, but ultimately the idea with this showcase is to show that you might want to use more than one type of wallet. So that's sort of a matter of sort of dipping your toe into not having all your eggs in one basket, because for quite a few folks, especially the crypto newbies on this call, they might only have ever used MetaMask from the time that they've been involved in crypto until now. So this is basically just to start giving them something to think about.
Okay, so you can just store a lot of your tokens on there as well, and just use it like that. Is that what you're saying?
Right. That,
Okay,
and you
thanks,
can
Hunter.
also use it. You can also use it to transact with any tokens that MetaMask just doesn't support. Like, for example, if you're once again to Bitcoin, then definitely use Exodus. Now, MetaMask has been talking about ultimately wanting to support Bitcoin and similar tokens. And they've said that they're going to start testing support for Bitcoin by the end of the year. So depending on the time that you're watching this video, that may have changed. But as of right now, as of this call, MetaMask does not support Bitcoin. The only tokens that aren't compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine that it does support is the Solana chain.
Right, thanks,
Jeffrey,
Hunter.
no problem. All right, Jeffrey, you have your hand up.
Yes, Hunter. Thank you for your service here to us. It's invaluable. I was going to say, to have the maybe 2 to 3 wallets, is it kind of like diversifying when you have assets and you don't want them all in one thing? Is it kind of like that as a comparison? Like,
Yeah,
not have
there is a
all
comparison.
assets?
There's a comparison there. It's basically more like, say you have 2 different bank accounts. Like, for example, you have one account where you have, say, the household money, that being your checking account, and then you have another separate account that's being used for savings. Like, for
Okay.
example, if you're saving up for a trip somewhere or a big purchase or anything to that matter.
Okay. Okay.
That's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's the idea works basically.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. We want to know why we're doing things. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and I see a couple people in the chat asking the occasional question, and it seems that some people have just remembered that they already have this wallet, and they found stuff in there. So, oh, hey, found money. You never know. It's available in NZ. Yes, it is. All right, and this is a self-custodial wallet, so it's available pretty much anywhere on the planet. If anyone in Antarctica ever watches my videos, hey, you might be able to download this and use it for yourself. Maybe not, since the internet there is pretty limited, but it could happen. All right. Any other questions or comments in the chat that I want to look at? All right, Jeffrey, you have your hand up again. Okay, I guess not. Alrighty, and anything else in the chat here? How tall are you, Hunter? I am 5 feet 10 inches, which in centimeters is almost 178 centimeters. I don't know why you wanted to know that, but there you go.
I've just been curious.
Ah, gotcha. Well, I imagine there were 1 or 2 other people in here that are curious as well, so you probably said the quiet part out loud for a couple people. Oh dear. Anyway, does anyone have any further questions about Exodus, crypto in general, or anything else for that matter?
Oh, yes, Hunter, I've thought of something. Exodus doesn't have a seed phrase like MetaMask does. Is that right?
It does.
Oh,
It
it does
uses
it?
yes, it uses the same type of seed phrase that MetaMask uses. In fact, the type of seed phrase that MetaMask uses is also the same type of phrase used by Exodus, Trust Wallet, StayPal, and several other different types of wallets, because that's a standard that was originally on the Bitcoin chain, but then got moved over to a lot of different other chains. And
Someone broke your Pig the pug.
So having a, sorry, Hunter. So having a Exodus wallet on your phone and on your laptop, they're completely different wallets, aren't they?
But they can be completely different wallets. What you can also do is you can load the wallet that you have on your desktop or laptop on your mobile phone as well, if you'd like to do it that way.
Yeah.
It works really shitty on my phone, and the one on my computer, I don't have anything in anyway, but the wallet on my phone, I could won't even open up most of the time.
Well, that sounds like you might want to reinstall it then, because that sounds like there might have been some sort of issue while it was installing. Perhaps some bit of code got hung up somewhere.
So to what, just uninstall it and reinstall it?
Right.
Okay. Okay, I might try that. Thank you.
All right. Anything else in the chat here? Internal, external. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, Jeffrey.
What was that, Hunter?
You put in the chat in a question, internal, external. What do you mean by that?
The wallet, like the wallet that nobody can have access to. How soon are we going to need one of those? I got to know that's probably an individual thing, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Right, right. So for that, you're talking about hardware wallets or cold storage wallets if you decide you want to go with that route. And yeah, that's an external wallet, and for that you'd want to use something like, say, a Trezor or a Ledger, and those are both compatible with Exodus and MetaMask as well. And as for when we're going to need them, honestly, if you have crypto holdings past a certain amount, it's a pretty good idea to look into getting one. And I have a couple dedicated documents on their inner workings, and definitely food for thought. If you get to the point where you have over, say, $1,000, $2,000 worth of crypto holdings, it may be worth investing in a hardware wallet or at least a cold storage wallet.
What was the first word?
Hardware wallet.
Oh, okay. Or cold storage. Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
I noticed on your screen you've got an atomic wallet. What kind of wallet is that?
That's also a desktop wallet. That's a non-Web3 wallet. I keep both separate wallets on my machine so I can do testing on certain links. Generally, I don't recommend atomic wallets for a couple different reasons, which I won't go too much into, but we'll just leave that. Generally, I and several other users find Exodus much easier to use.
Oh, okay. Because I've got an atomic wallet, but I installed it a long time ago. So before I even heard of Bullfund.
You may want to check that and see if you have any tokens in there that might be valuable. It seems quite a few people are remembering about the wallets that they have that they forgot about, and they're finding money. So you may be lucky tonight.
I've already been
or
in
this
it.
evening, this morning, what have you.
I did transfer some USDT into there actually, but yeah.
Not
Okay,
bad, not bad.
but it's okay. It's a decent wallet, is it?
Yeah, it's a decent fold. It's just that, yeah, we find Exodus easier to use generally and more user friendly.
Okay.
So, Hunter, sorry. I've got money sitting in Binance. Should I like get it out of there or just because I always have it sitting in there. It's not much, but is it safe
So
enough just to leave in
it
there?
so unless you're actively using that money that's in Binance to trade with it, I would recommend taking that out of Binance. Generally speaking, I recommend not leaving anything on a centralized exchange if you can help it. And I've gone over why before, but short version, anything can happen to any exchange at any time. Look at Mitgots, look at FTX, look at Celsius, look at any number of different exchanges that have either gotten hacked, became insolvent, or have just closed up shop entirely without much of any notice. So yeah, do not leave your funds on the exchange.
Okay, so you just move them into my MetaMask is better.
Yep.
That's
All right,
easy.
Jeb.
I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jeffrey, you had your hand up again.
Yes. When you said that about 1 or 2,000, is that in actual distribution coin, or what point of the coin does that need to happen? You know what I'm saying?
So I was talking more in general of what your personal holdings all are in USD because, well, of course, that's what I'm familiar with, but I was just using that as a basic rule of thumb. So if you get to the point where, let me generalize it a bit more. If you get to the point where you have a decent amount of crypto, either in one or a couple cryptos or over a decent amount of holdings, then you might want to consider getting, say, a Trezor or a Ledger. And usually I recommend a Trezor or a Ledger since it's been tested and proven more than Ledger has. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that.
And you
Okay,
said
Hunter, so can our pool funding coins be moved to an external wallet as well?
Yes, if the external wallet in question supports custom tokens and tokens on either the Binance Smart Chain, if it explicitly says that, or in many cases, such a wallet can also hold those tokens if they say they support the Ethereum chain or any wallets based off of the ERC-20 standard.
Okay, so by moving them, is that considered a sell?
In most cases, no, because that's not considered a sell on the market. So as far as the market is concerned, nothing's happened.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Nola.
Hunter, have I unmuted? Yes. I downloaded Exodus on my PC and it got to the page where it says start your journey. So at what stage does it give you a seed phrase?
So if it didn't give you a seed phrase at that point, at any point during your installation, what you can do is you can actually go into settings, and that'll be the cog or gear icon up near the top right corner of Exodus. And then you can go over to the backup tab. And then from there, you can click on recovery phrase to view your recovery phrase and get that written down.
Sorry, where's the backup tab? I've gone into settings.
Right, so you should be seeing at the top of Exodus, you should be seeing a row of tabs saying assets, devices, portfolios, personalized, security, and backup. What you want,
Yep.
the last one that says backup.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Create your password. So you just follow your nose in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Hunter.
It's very easy to go through. And
Thank you.
and just to say finer points, and this advice applies regardless of whether wallet you're using. Do not share your 12-word phrase with anyone. Do not share your private keys with anyone. No one from Exodus will ever ask for it. No one from MetaMask will ever ask for it. And no genuine support person that's meant to be helping you will ask for it. If anyone asks for it, then most likely they're trying to scam you. So once you get that 12-word phrase, 13-word phrase, or in some cases up to a 24 or 25-word phrase, treats that phrase like it's a solid gold brick, basically, because that is the keys to the kingdom, precisely. If anyone has that, then that means they can access your wallet.
Thanks, Hunter.
All right, do we have any further questions about anything Exodus crypto related or personal, I guess, since we've opened a can of worms here? No? Alrighty then. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.